Hello, gang. A friend of mine asked me a question. He said, "This made me realize that I must have said something that sounded cooler and truer than I thought it did." All right. He asked me, "Well, you really seem clued in on the UFO stuff, and you, I guess it was some of the projections I was making." Aren't you afraid that the government will knock on your door and the men in black suits will come in? I was like, all right. So, what would I do if the men in black showed up at my door? If the government contacted me and say, you know too much, or you're talking about this too much, or exposing too much, or whatever. First of all, I don't think that's likely to happen because I don't have a first-hand knowledge. I would love to see the evidence. I would love to physically see the evidence that these whistleblowers and people are talking about. I would love to see the raw footage, not the edited, redacted footage, not the blurry footage. I know they have better footage, and if they have alien tech and craft and bodies, I would love to see it. And if I saw it, I feel like it would be my duty as a private citizen to talk about it. But I haven't. I'm going off of the evidence, the testimonies. I'm making deductions, and I'm making extrapolations. Some of it's conjecture, some of it's grounded, guided conjecture. Whenever I say something that I think is a bit out there or is a bit ungrounded, I say, hey, we're kind of really going out in left field here. And other times I say, this is probably very likely. Like, for example, I'm pretty sure that for all the videos and images and accounts that have been declassified, there are probably hundreds of far better videos, far better images, and probably far more interesting stories out there. If we were to conclude that, for example, the Tic Tac case is true, then that's probably the tip of the iceberg. I don't think that's very ungrounded. I think that's logical. But when I talk about things like cattle mutilations, abductions, and things like that, I mean that there's not a lot of compelling proof out there. There's not a lot of disclosure out there. So when I talk about what could this mean, I'm using a bit of conjecture. I'm using a bit of imagination, but I'm trying to be logical, and I'm trying to extrapolate from known facts into the unknown. But say I hit on something. One of my deductions actually hits on a secret, and the men in black show up at my door. And what would I say? Who are you? We're the men in black. We're the people behind the UFO story. We know the truth, and you've uncovered it accidentally. We need to talk. I'm like, all right, so here are my terms. Y'all need to hire me. You guys, not just you, but the people that are the bosses of the bosses that are the bosses of you, okay? You need to hire me because obviously if this alien tech is capable of doing all these things, you haven't completely reverse engineered it. You probably might not have even touched it. And I have completely different ways of thinking about things. When I talk about this topic, I don't find people on the internet. I don't, people like Stephen Greer and stuff. Some of what I'm talking about doesn't seem to enter their minds. And Stephen Greer basically accepts everything about the topic as absolutely true, talks about all this evidence he has, and hasn't produced a shred of it for decades, all right? And haven't heard anybody talk about semiotics and things like that. I think that's one of the keys to deciphering this whole phenomena. And, some of the protocols I've suggested and some of the possible deductions about the motives of these beings, and they could be multiple groups of beings that are not affiliated with each other. I don't hear a lot of that. And so therefore, if the men in black show up at my door and I know that some of what I talked about has truth to it, I would say y'all need to hire me. Y'all not only need to listen to me, but you need to train me. I would ask to be sent to something like, the CIA Tradecraft School, and I would ask for some funding for personal care, a hyperbaric chamber, fitness instructors, latest in supplements and longevity technology, so that I could have a long career working on this. I would ask for maybe some university courses and maybe some firearms refresher training and things like that, so that I could live in this world, take care of myself, take care of my security. And I would need at least a six-figure income, because I'm just a guy with a blog, folks. I don't know if any of the things I'm saying are verifiable, but I'm looking for the truth. I'm not necessarily a complete UFO believer, and I'm certainly not a debunker. I think that makes me valuable, because guys like Stephen Greer believe everything, talk about everything, and produce nothing in terms of evidence. And guys like Mick West believe in nothing and ignore and poo-poo all kinds of evidence without even properly looking or investigating it. All right, so I think my value to such an effort would be great, particularly if they listen to me about how I need to be trained and educated and brought to speed on this. Okay? And, hey, that would be like a fantasy for me. Okay? But right now it's just a blog. So Men in Black, government, if you're listening and you're afraid of, me exposing something, you don't need to suppress me. You don't need to make me disappear to Gitmo or something. You need to hire me, train me, educate me, disclose to me, fund me, and put me on this project, because I would love to spend the rest of my life tackling it. And now if you have some alien tech that could extend that life and make me even smarter and more vital, give it to me, because I think this is a worthy topic, and I would dedicate my life to it, particularly since, at this age, a lot of other things that I've been pursuing I've gotten them, and I'm ready to, I'll never stop being a martial artist. I don't want to stop being a martial artist, but competitive career, certain things like that you have to transition, right? You have to move on to another phase. So, yeah. UFO people, Men in Black, I'm here, and you need me. You need me more than I need you, to be quite frank about it, based on the progress you seem to be making. If this is all part of one giant conspiracy, you seem to just keep screwing it up, where you do one thing and then another thing that sets it back. It contradicts one action, right? And if you want to hear more about all the mistakes I think you've been making, you UFO MIB people, contact me, hire me, and we'll talk terms, and you need to accept my terms, because you need me more than I need you. Y'all have a good day.